All right, so let's have some fun with left-hand walking bass lines. I've written an exercise out for you in this video. I'm going to play it for you, do a little bit of soloing, but I think the whole point of this exercise is just to get used to that left-hand walking bass line. It's not the easiest thing to do. Because I've been doing it for a long time, I've written out what I typically tend to play, and we're going to do it over the blues because it's only 12 bars. And we're going to repeat it several times because when you're practicing, you want to do things over and over again until they become automatic. The goal here is to play that left-hand bass line and solo over the top. And while you're soloing, you can't really be thinking about the left-hand bass. So play this pattern over and over again. It'll eventually just sort of sink into your consciousness and you'll be able to do other things with it. So I'm going to start off by playing the exercise as is, do a little bit of soloing, and then we're going to tear it apart and start talking about the detail. All right, let's get started. Okay, so as you can see, I started off by playing just the eighth note rhythms, and I think that's important. So let's take a look at some of the things I want to point out. So the first thing is you'll notice here in the left-hand bass, it doesn't just start by walking up the scale. It starts by playing 1, then 5, then 1, and then it goes to this half step above the destination note, which is B flat. So then it goes from B to B flat. Now, one of the interesting things about this is that the accents are always on 2 and 4, and that's what's really going to help you get that swing feel. And that's not the easiest thing to do. It's totally like experience to get that feel, and most people never really get there. They swing sort of backwards and it sounds really straight and hokey. And I've talked about this before lots of times, and I think this is a great exercise to kind of wrap your head and your fingers and your emotions around that whole sort of swing feel. And the right hand comping, we do these chords, which are basically F7-13 chords, B flat 7-13. And we've talked about those voicings before in other videos. So it's pretty straightforward, but the goal here is of course to play on the and of 4 and the and of 2. Now people have asked me before, should I just continue that or are there other rhythms that I can do? And the answer is of course there's other rhythms you can do. This is just to help you get the feel. So eventually what you're going to do is you're going to do different types of comping on different rhythmic patterns like this. So again, the exercise is really just on the and of 4 and the and of 2 to just help you push that feel. And I think there's no better way to learn how to play swing than that. So, and I've talked about this in other videos, you can check those out as well. But here, as we're focused on the left-hand bass, try to remember that you're spelling the chords and you're also walking the scale. So for example, in the first part, I'm just playing 1, 5, 1 instead of going, which I could do. I could walk the scale. So there's combinations of those things. For example, here, I'm walking the scale. And using passing notes to get to the one of the next chord. So scale, but I need an extra note. And again, here, I'm just playing the chord. This is actually B diminished seventh. So this is just the chord itself. And then a passing note to the next chord. Scale, right, on G minor here. And then the scale on C7. You'll hear that very often. And then when I do the turnaround at the end, which is 1, 6, 2, 5, and of course this is minor, this is dominant seventh, this is dominant seventh. I'm basically using passing chords or passing notes. So for example, instead of going from F to C to D, it's like you're approaching the next note by a half step. And we do that several times throughout. There's one there, there's one there. It's coming from either a half step above or a half step below. In this case, half step below, and then half step above, then half step above, half step above. What I would suggest is on those last two bars, which is really what we're focused on here, just on those last two bars, play that as many times as you need to, because that's a turnaround that you're going to get in tons of jazz compositions. Over and over and over again, because again, 1, 6, 2, 5, it's kind of like the heart and soul of jazz. And notice the accents are on the notes that are not in the chords. The accents are on the passing notes. And what you should be able to do is talk while you're doing that, or rub your tummy. And it's not easy to do because the left hand just kind of has a mind of its own and it needs to understand that rhythm. Now, the one thing I want to do before I finish this video is to give you, on the second page of that composition, we have some alterations that we're going to put in. I just need to find it and make a screenshot of it so we can talk about it. Okay, so as you can see on this second page of the exercise, it's still the same blues progression, which is jazz blues, but I've done some alterations to the left-hand bass to kind of give it a bigger feel. So you'll notice that there's this dotted quarter to a 16th. Now that's something that is a little bit more of an advanced technique, but it definitely adds a ton of feel to your playing. When you're playing this and you're soloing at the same time, try to remember that the dotted quarter to 16th is usually a filler part where the right hand is not playing. It's very difficult to play that while the right hand is playing. In fact, it's almost impossible to do that because the right hand is playing sort of swing eighth notes and the left hand is doing this dotted quarter to 16th. So use it as a filler when the right hand is not playing. It's almost like the left hand is filling in some more feel where the right hand is not going on. So and that'll do it for this video. If you have any questions about what I'm doing in any specific area, just sort of like say 2 minutes, 3 seconds, what are you doing here, Paul? You can post that below, or any other questions that you have would be awesome, and I'll try to answer them in another video. If you like this one, give it a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it very much. Have a great day.